German authorities are investigating an Afghan refugee who attacked train passengers with an axe and a knife before being shot dead by police. The 17-year-old injured 5 people, 4 of them very seriously, when he ran amok on a train in southern Germany. That's near Würzburg, where the attack took place in the state of Bavaria. The Bavarian Interior Minister, Joachim Herrmann, says the attacker had arrived in the country as an unaccompanied minor from Afghanistan.
Bloodstains and debris on the train floor paint a grisly picture of last night's attack. 5 passengers were injured, 4 of them seriously. The train wasn't far from its final stop when the attacker struck. The attacker was armed with a knife and an axe. After the attack, the train stopped. That's when he tried to flee, and our officers shot him dead. A special police force unit happened to be nearby and was able to respond quickly. Bavaria's interior minister said the attacker was a 17-year-old Afghan refugee. He added that an Islamist connection to the attack could not be ruled out. As of now, it's completely unclear why he brutally assaulted the passengers on the train. It's a gruesome act, the likes of which Bavaria hasn't experienced yet. The fear is that this may not be the last such attack in the country. The hope is that it is.
And the man we just heard from there, the Bavarian State Interior Minister Joachim Herrmann, has just been speaking about the attack on German TV. Let's give a listen.
A 17-year-old Afghan who came to Germany last year and was registered, has lived in Würzburg since March, in a special home for minors, and has been with a family for 2 weeks now. That's what we know right now about his personal situation.
Und war der 17-jährige unbegleitete Flüchtling ein Einzeltäter?
And was the perpetrator a lone perpetrator? The current investigation suggests that yes. He was alone in the train and committed his deed alone. We're still investigating possible motives. The first emergency call from the train said that the perpetrator had shouted Allah Akbar. When his room was searched, they found a hand-painted Islamic State flag. So this is now a big mosaic which we are piecing together. And we have to find out exactly how much he was radicalized.
For more on this story, let's bring in our correspondent, Rupert Wiedewald, from our parliamentary studio. Rupert, how is this attack likely to affect German sentiment regarding the large number of refugees entering the country?
Well, we have to be very careful not to jump to conclusions here. Sorry, I'm having something on my ear I don't want to hear. And what we do know now is that for the last 18 months, Germany has taken in more than 1 million people from countries like Syria, Iraq, or Afghanistan, for instance. And we know that very little has happened compared to the large numbers of people coming in. But the sentiment has changed a bit during the last 6 months, especially as we have seen the incidents from New Year's Eve, where migrants from mostly northern African and Arabic states attacked women at the Cologne Central train station, and police were not able to help. And this has changed, of course, the way the refugee debate has been discussed here in Germany, and attacks like the one from Würzburg from last night are very likely to change the sentiment again, of course.
Okay. As well as changing the sentiment, could they lead to more pressure as well on Angela Merkel and her government and her policy on refugees?
Well, this depends on what information we gather on the attack of last night. Up till now, we don't know very much about the attack. We just know that he has been a 17-year-old minor. I mean, we always have to take into account this is a very, very young man, and even though if he's said to have cried out Allahu Akbar and to have the police say they have found a self-drawn Islamic State flag in his room. That doesn't really mean that he has to have an Islamistic background. So we have to be very careful on that one. But if there is more proof to be, or more evidence to be found that there is an Islamistic background, this of course could also add some pressure to the refugee policy of Angela Merkel, but we have to be very, very careful to not jump to conclusions here.
Okay, this attack comes, of course, after the events in Nice of last week. We've seen Germans choosing to stay in the country, not travel to traditional tourist destinations like Tunisia or Egypt or even Turkey, of course, with the coup there. You know, is there a heightened concern about security here that more needs to be done to protect people, including when they're traveling on trains?
Well, what we do see here, or what these attacks, whatever background they may have, what these attacks have shown is that how vulnerable German society is, or Western societies in general. And we have seen a heightened willingness of people to accept very tight security measures. And this has changed during the last years. We have to take into account that traveling on the train normally doesn't mean that you have to maybe be searched for weapons. That's the reason why the boy could carry an axe on the commuter train. And this is likely to change in future.
Okay, Rupert Wiedewald for us this morning. Thanks very much, Rupert. Well, strong reactions have been registered on social media where some fear attacks like this could become the new normal. This German user wrote, "I don't have words for what I'm feeling right now. Does this mean we have to get used to this kind of news on a daily basis?" But many also are expressing a sense of despair and sheer exhaustion with new attacks seemingly happening every week. There's literally a new hashtag at least twice a week. The world is getting out of hand. We've also received several comments from Afghans who have written us directly apologizing on behalf of their country, like this man who wrote, "This is such a horrible act and doesn't represent Afghans at all," calling it an isolated incident. He said he felt sorry for the people who got injured and asked Germans to please not blame all Afghans for the attack.